Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Everquest Old School. And on tonight's episode, I am playing my Shadow Knight, and I am down here in Befallen, guys. My Shadow Knight's actually around level 9. He's almost level 10, as you guys can see right here. And I came in here with about a bubble of life, or not a bubble of life, bubble of experience. And I've gotten the rest of it in about 20 to 30 minutes. So it's really, really good experience down here. I would highly recommend it. Now, I am playing in a group right now. And of course, I am playing my Shadow Knight, who is the puller. So you're going to see a unique view of this zone because most people don't get to pull. And if you happen to be one of those people, you're going to get to see a different way of looking at the zone, and just know that some of these creatures. Oh crap, man! We got several. This is gonna suck. Oh no! Oh no! This was a bad pull, guys. This is... Oh, dang it. Let's see, can we get up here? No, leave her alone. Leave our healer alone. Leave her... Ah, jeez. I don't even know what's going on. People are killing things so fast. Here we go. Okay, so we are going to survive this. This was a really bad pull, and I got to apologize, guys. You only want one or two, and if you're going to pull this many back, you need to be on the ball. You need to be, taunting these things off and getting just the fact that we got so much DPS is really the only reason we survived that in the shape that we did here. Now, you need to make sure that you ask the group every so often, what their power is, right? And that's what they call a mana check. So I'll do that real quick. And you can just do MC and they know exactly what you're talking about. But I just want to make sure that they got a decent amount so that if I do pull the next one. Now, the way you can tell right off the bat if the cleric is low on power is if they don't heal you. If you get done with a pretty big battle and you're still at 40%, you know right then and there that the cleric needs a little bit more power and you might want to give it a second. So they're pretty low. One's at 5%, 3%. Yeah, 39. That's pretty low. But if I can be careful and just kind of peek around the corners, make sure I don't get any repops, and I could still come over here and get some of the pools, that will be fine with me. And I think I got most of the stuff in this room except for the stuff down this hallway. Now, what is down this hall? We have 2 lesser mummies. 'Tis a long life dream. And don't worry, maybe one day you can have some, man. Yeah. I don't know if we can take both of those right now with the fact that they're pretty low, but we'll look over here and check it out. There's a greater skeleton in there. That guy's red. We definitely can't take him at the moment. There's another greater skeleton in there. Let's con him at the same time if we can. He's yellow. Okay, so we have one red, one yellow, and what's on the other side of the room? And you definitely want... Oh, we got another one in there. A dreadbone. Dang it. He's going to be red. No, he's even. So one even, one yellow, and one red. Except I don't think I can pull that room without getting all 3. So that's not going to happen. Yeah, that's we're going to something avoid on that one, I think. Now let's see. 2 of them down here, and there's a corner there. And I'm not familiar with this area. I haven't pulled this area in a very, very long time, so I have no idea what's around that corner. There could be another 2 mobs sitting over there, so that could be a total of 4 mobs at one time. That's pretty iffy, and I think we're going to leave it alone for this second. Just let our guys get some more power. I'll come over here and check out this other side. Now, when you're pulling, you want to be extra cautious when walking up to a door. You don't really want to get that close. Let's see, lesser mummy? Yeah, we can pull that. Oh, crap, we got 2. That might be a little thing there. 2 of them might be a little rough, but by now we should have a decent amount of power for some of the casters. If we can just hold aggro, or maybe spread out a little bit of the aggro so we don't die right away. There we go, got the cleric killing me. And somebody got aggro on that one. I think it was the wizard. He completely and totally stole the aggro because he was just blasting that thing. Now, one of those is beating on somebody, and it's beating on the cleric. No, it's beating on... What is she? Is she a cleric as well? I think she's a rogue. Yeah, so it's beating on the rogue at the moment. Let's go ahead and... Ah, they killed it. So half the group was on one and half the group was on the other one. That works. I like that. I want my mummy. Let's see. Out of power. Okay, so you're out of mana. What are you? Were you the necro? No, you're not the necro. You're the wizard. Okay. Now, when you join a group as a pooler, you want to learn what the classes are of the people that you're in. So you might just go ahead and ask them for a class check, so that you want to know who the cleric is. You want to know who the enchanter is for sure. Because if they say they have somebody on them, you need to drop what you're doing and get it off of them, so they can do what they need to do, which is either heal you or mez the creatures so you're not getting hit by like 40 of them. So, I think there's only one in there, but I'm not sure. So let's do an F9 and peek around the wall a little bit. Yeah, there's only one in there. So we will go back, and I guess we will do that. Should I kick? I'd leave them in there. I'm not really a big fan of kicking people out just because they happen to be AFK at the moment. So let's go ahead and do another incoming. I'll go ahead and disease cloud that guy and pull him back. Now, I love pulling with Engulfing Darkness. It's one of my favorite spells to pull with because it slows the creature down, and they're no longer hitting you the whole way back. As you can see right there, he got several hits on me before I even got back to the group to turn around. Now, I am overweight, so that might be one of the reasons he got an extra couple hits on me, but if you put that slow on him and you're down the hallway when you cast it, not only are you going to have that advantage of that 20, 30 feet where he's far away from you before you even cast the spell, but you're also going to have the advantage of him running really, really slow. Yeah, give him a second. So let's go ahead and pull this guy as well. I'm going to go ahead and do the disease cloud on him and see how he likes. And it actually took. It actually took. Now, it's a spell that will do damage over time, which is what they call a dot. You got to remember, those will give you aggro. So if you're not trying to get the aggro, then you may not want to do that. And it looks like our tank is back. So, yeah, he's going to go ahead and pull, which means I can kind of chill and just rest at the back. He has better armor than I do, which is why he was pulling in the first place. So I'm more than fine with letting him do his thing. A plague rat, really? These things are so... Yeah, look at that. He killed it in one hit. He didn't even need to pull that back. If you see those on the ground, some people will tell you to leave them there. Other people will tell you to kill them. The thing about that, guys, is in the early days of this game, there were a lot of people who were, were speculating on like how to get names to spawn faster. Like, some of them actually had triggers. Some of them would only spawn once you've killed a certain creature, and you'd have to kill that creature over and over and over again. Like in the Karanas, to get the Pegasus cloak, I believe you have to kill like bull elephants and another type of creature, and you just have to kill those over and over and over again, and eventually one of those creatures that normally spawn, or one of those spots that normally spawn a bull elephant, that I think it's a griffin or something like that, will spawn in its place, which is the creature you're looking for. But you got to keep in mind that if you don't kill those, it's never going to spawn. The same thing can be said in other zones where like rats may be the thing that you have to kill. And don't forgive you. Oh, okay. Yeah, rats may be the thing you have to kill to get the name to spawn a little bit faster. But in the early days, nobody really knew. People were trying to figure it out based off of their own experiences, which means you basically, for a long period of time, not killing any rats and see if the name spawns more often. And then you come back there and do it all over again, just this time killing rats. The problem with that is there's a random factor to when names spawn. So it takes you a very, very long time to work out whether anything you're doing is even making a difference, or are you just getting incredibly lucky that day or incredibly unlucky that day. And eventually they figured it out. It's a miracle that they were actually able to do that, but it's kind of interesting too, because now all that information that you will find on like the wiki and all these websites about Everquest, all that information was found because of people who just sat there and figured it out themselves. And that's something I see is kind of lacking in some of the new video games that have come out. You don't really have that exploration, that discovery of the creatures and the mobs that are in the zone. And because you don't have that constant discussion about, oh, how did these guys spawn and what's the spawn rate and what's the spawn timer on those things and all that sort of stuff, you don't feel that connection, And I've talked about this before with other video games where they have maps. In my opinion, games that don't have maps, I tend to learn a whole lot better. Like, I memorize the area because you have to. Whereas if it has a map, a lot of the time I'll just be looking at the little mini map in the corner to see, oh, there's a shop up there. I just run up there and grab it. But I never really look at the screen itself. I never really memorize oh, I come down this alley and I take a right over here and I go past the waterfall and take a left. If you don't like doing that, if you don't like putting that stuff to memory, then that's a good thing. But for me, I like that because years later when I come back or I see a picture of it, my mind instantly gets the entire town pictured in my head because I know it so well. And that just brings me a little closer to that game because I know so much about it. And that's kind of like this game. It's so detailed that you will have those memories of just constantly going through areas and fighting over and over and over again, trying to get that one piece of loot that just takes you months, sometimes longer. To be honest, guys, there's a few pieces out there. I'm not even talking about raid stuff. Raid stuff may take you years, but there's a few pieces out there, just for group stuff that may take you a very, very long time to get because the spawn rate is just so low and your luck with the dice could be just awful. And you may just log on those days where, hey, you just joined the group. We just got 14 of the names to spawn in a row and everybody got a sash, and then not another single spawn of that name for the entire night that you're on. It happens. It definitely happens, and it's horrible. It is a horrible feeling, but it's part of the game, guys. It's part of going through and earning that piece. So there's a little connection to the piece as well. I hate to keep going back to that, but when you have the ability to sit there and camp it over and over and over again, and you finally get that piece, you know what that piece is called. You know what the stats are on that thing. You've been drooling over that thing for months. You finally get it, and it's a part of your character now. Like, you show it off, like, holy crap, I finally got that piece, and I am uber now, right? Like, I feel good about that piece of armor. And then later on, when you finally get a piece that's better than it, you're kind of torn because you're like, oh, I got a piece that's better. It's gonna make my character better, but man, I sat there for so long with that thing. I don't really want to sell it. I want to give it to one of my other characters so he can use it. And it becomes part of the game for you because it was part of the game for you for so long. I don't like. I think of Everquest 2 and like Star Trek Online and Dungeons and Dragons Neverwinter and all those other ones that I've ever played. There's not really one piece of armor that I can think of that I really had to work that hard to get. In fact, most of the games out there nowadays are, I hate to say easy, but they definitely are more friendly to the casual player. So you don't have to play for 6 7 months trying to get that one piece. And I understand that there's people out there who they're not going to enjoy that. They play on the weekend. They play 5 or 6 hours a week, if that. And when they sit down, they want to actually feel like they got something done. In this game, 5 or 6 hours means you might be able to run from one zone to the zone that you actually want to hunt in. Maybe. Like, that's not a long time to spend in this game. So if you're only playing that once a month and you have to run from, say, Seb back to Freeport and you can't get a teleport, that's going to take you probably 5 or 6 hours if you're lucky and you got a Soa or a Spirit of Wolf on you. So yeah, it's not exactly going to feel like you got a lot done, and it's probably not going to be that enjoyable for you unless you like running and checking out the scenery, which I definitely do. That's one of the biggest enjoyments for me in this game is, when I get kind of burned out on a dungeon or grouping, because there will be times where I will get burned out, or at least I used to, because I will have been sitting there in a certain zone, say Carnor's Castle, sitting there for, 6 7 months in the same area, just grinding through some levels, and then finally, when I'm done, I finally outdone that area, and I want a little bit of a change. I'll just go exploring someplace I've never been before, and just see some new scenery, just to see new scenery, because you've just been looking at the same walls over and over and over again. Now, 6 months is a long time. It's probably not going to take you that long to get through, 4 or 5 levels. 10 maybe. Most zones really won't go beyond 15 levels when you enter the door to like the highest place that you can go into the zone. You're probably only going to stay there for a max of 10 levels, to be honest, before you move on to the next place. And at a low level, 5 levels is probably going to be the amount that you stay in one spot. So you'll be moving around a great deal. Now, you can always go off and explore. There's plenty of places that you can go that have the same level requirement at just pretty much any level in the game. But you also have to take into account what those creatures do. Some creatures are going to be underwater, some creatures won't, some creatures will be undead, some creatures will be goblins, and depending on what you're trying to go for, that may or may not be a good thing. And so you may steer clear of those zones. So at any given time, the character you're playing may only have one good spot to go to. And if that's the case, you're going to be spending a great deal of time in that one spot, which for me as a cleric, I absolutely loved, man. I mean, my cleric sucked at. Does everybody have auto split on? I hate having auto split on, but I'll turn it on for you guys. I think it just makes more copper, but there we go. I hate that thing. Just copper, guys. It weighs a lot, and most of the time I just destroy it. 205 copper. I think that weighs like I don't know what that weighs. Let's get this. Let's destroy this. I have 136 on my weight, so we'll destroy that and see what it takes me down to. Yeah, so that's 5 pounds. 5 pounds for 200 copper. And when you kill these things, you're probably only going to get like a piece of copper from each one because it's being split, 6 ways. Whereas if you looted it by itself, you may get an entire silver. And silver is going to give you more bang for your buck, basically, so you don't have to weigh that thing down. And if you have a monk in the group, he's going to get after you left and right. If you leave that on, he's not going to like that. Monks actually lose their AC, their ability to take and resist the damage being dealt by the enemies. Their that stat that they get for wearing armor. So you definitely want to make sure that you're not bringing down somebody in your group and making them weaker, which is exactly what split does. So at higher levels, split's not something you're really going to have on. You're not really going to be allowed to have it on. Even if you want it, the people will tell you to turn that off. At this low level, people who are just starting the game, they're like, "Oh, I want my silver from every kill." I understand that, and if that's the case, I would rather have them just loot everything. And if they want, they can leave the item on the ground. Is he running that? I think he has to run. I think we would have been able to fight that just fine. He got 3 skeletons on that one. So I guess we all have to zone it. Oh, no. Okay, so the druid's going to go up there and kill it, because even if he zones it, that just means the creatures stop attacking him, and then they will eventually start, coming back down to where they spawn. And if you're in the way, if you're, in the direction that they're coming, they will aggro you just like they would if you walked into their room. So you either have to move off of that path into a little tiny corner and hope that they don't see you, or fight them. So yeah, elf skeleton is no joke. Well, it would have been interesting to try it. I think we have a pretty good group. We might have been able to do it, and I guess he killed it. I guess he did kill it. Now he's looking for a group, and I guess what he's doing is just kind of hanging out over here. Didn't see that entrance. Okay, yeah, then they're going to be coming back here in a minute. But yeah, he's just kind of hanging out, helping out a group that's lower level than him, while he waits for somebody to send him a message saying, "Hey, you want to go over to Unrest? You want to go over to High Pass or High Keep and do some killing over there?" Because as long as you have your LFG tag on, you can do a who all LFG, and it will show you if anybody's looking for a group, and then you can put one together yourself that way. And at higher levels, and I really hate to keep coming back to that and be like, "Oh, at higher levels this, higher levels that," but the game does change for you at certain progressions, at certain stages of your level. The game will change, and as you get to higher levels, one of the things that really changes is people are putting more and more effort into putting a group together because they realize the benefits of it. And so you got to remember. Oh no, that dread skeleton. We can kill that guy. Let's go ahead and taunt this guy off of him. We got this. That one, it was actually the room spawn, so I don't want him fighting any more than he has to. And we might actually be able to fight the other one as well, because he's tanking it. So I'm gonna go over there and see if I can pull the. Now that guy's super red. What about the Icebone? I think we could take the Icebone. It's already pretty much dead, but we can at least give a little hand, so he doesn't have to take that all himself. I mean, the dude is kind of sitting over here saving our bacon anyways, just from, willing to take that on. Because if he wasn't willing to take that on, we would have to zone right now. We would have to have zoned when the warrior did. And some of these people may not have made it. The casters, they could have gated, but depending on where they're bound, that may be really, really far away. The Necro would have lost his pet, which means a little bit of more recuperation time when we finally get back in. And for those who aren't bound close by, who would have to run to the zone, that's definitely something you have to consider when. Oh wow, what was my pet getting attacked by? I don't know. Let's see. I'm gonna try attacking this with my spell. I'm gonna try putting it on him, but I don't think it's gonna take. Yeah, he resisted it. I might be able to get a strength one off of him though. No, no, he resisted that. Actually, yeah, he did resist it. I was gonna say maybe it didn't take because I already have strength on, but no, he's just resisting it altogether. Wow, it went right for that rogue. He must be doing some insane amount of damage. Let's get my pet on there to do a little bit more damage. And now it's attacking me. I want to see how much it hurts me for. Nope, it switched over to the rogue again. Okay, so he kicked me. He kicks me for 12. Wow, that that is pretty high. 12, 36 for a hit. 36 again. Yeah, I'm backing up. That's a big portion of my life right there. Now he is rooted, so in a situation like this, all you got to do is back up a little bit. Sometimes, if you're an off tank or you're the main tank and you're taking a lot of damage, you don't really even need to have the creature rooted. All you got to do is slightly back up a little bit more than the other tanks are, and the creature may or may not, switch its attack onto to somebody else. So it's just those little tiny movements that sometimes make all the difference. You don't really want to back it up too much. You don't want to move the mob away from the spot that it's at if it's in a good area, but it's definitely something that as you play the game, you'll become more accustomed to and more familiar with how it works. And like I said, just those slight movements, moving it in one direction, left or right, will mean the difference between the entire group taking a huge area effect or your group surviving the huge area effect. There's something about tanks in general that allow them to take hits better, allows them to take spells and resist them more often. What's it like? Flash? Okay, I'll rebuff. Okay, I'm just making sure I'm not missing anything again. But yeah, it's the tank can take those hits. He can resist those spells. But for the casters, if they get hit by those things, they almost always take those hits really, really hard. So the tank, it's even if the tank is taking the hits every single time and he's not able to resist it, it's always better for him to take the hits than everybody take the hits. It's easier on the cleric to heal one person than everybody. And the tank will have more hit points, and so the cleric can use his power a little bit more efficiently by using complete heals on the tank rather than using like superior heals or greater healing on everybody else, which is not anywhere close to being as efficient on the healing or the mana as complete heal is. So in those situations, you kind of have to be the sacrificial lamb. You're the one who takes the hits. Everybody else does the damage. And some people never really got into that role. They wanted to do the damage. They wanted to be the tank that just did tremendous amounts and allowed them to keep aggro better. But you're never going to get there. Never. Any paladin on the server, any shadow knight on the server will never ever be as good as a necro or a wizard or a rogue of equal gear. Like if Shadow Knight has the greatest gear in the game and a wizard has the greatest gear in the game, the wizard is going to outdamage that Shadow Knight almost every single time. The only instances where I can think that they wouldn't is if the creature is so high that none of the spells will land. And then the combat alone of using your weapon is going to outdamage the wizard if you can even stay alive that long. But chances are you wouldn't be able to. But only in that situation would there be, a different outcome. But the wizard's going to do so much more with his blasting. A rogue is going to do so much more with his weapons because that is what his character is geared for. It's kind of like a rogue expecting to be as good of a tank as a warrior. It's never going to happen. You can be a really good tank and you're going to be able to tank creatures that only warriors used to be able to tank because you have so many, so good hit points. But if you put the two characters together side by side and you watch how well that warrior with the best gear tanks that mob, or how well that rogue tanks that mob with the best gear, the warrior is going to come out ahead. And it should be that way. That's the character he's playing. He should be the best tank in the game. Some of these other games that I played that kind of irritate me is because they don't have that divide between the characters. Everybody seems to be able to do everything. Every character can tank, every character can blast and heal to some extent, and no character is really better than any of the other characters. They're simply different. I mean, that has a place. That definitely is an interesting way to play a game, and I have enjoyed that in the past, but as far as like a true like hardcore RPG, I like to see those really, defined differences between the classes so that when you pick one, it means something. Like you want a rogue in your group because it does something. You want a necro in your group. In those other games, it's pretty much you're there, you're in, right? Like we don't care if we have 15 tanks because we can all heal a little bit, we can all blast a little bit. We're all basically the same class anyway, so we might as well just pick whoever and put them in there. Now, some of the other games they go a little bit more with creating a little divide, but even those, it's usually not nearly as big. Like even those are kind of like a token gesture in that regard. I think World of Warcraft is one of the few games out there that actually has a pretty big divide like that. That you actually feel a difference with the classes that you play. And I think the main reason behind that is the programmers have come out and said that they based it off of Everquest. Like Everquest was one of their inspirations because they loved it. So with that in mind, it's only kind of makes sense that they would adopt some of the things that made EverQuest what it was, and that's one of the things they adopted. The other thing that I think they adopted that makes World of Warcraft so loved and so liked by so many people for so long is that it has the ability to have a really good communication system in there. I've been playing lately, Star Trek Online and Dungeons and Dragons Neverwinter, and those chat bars, they suck so bad, guys. I hate to put the games down because they are really, really good games, but when you join, there's so much text going across your little chat bar, and it's a little chat bar. So much text going across it, and it's so confusing that almost immediately upon joining, you just blot it out. You're not going to use it. You're not concerned with it. It's not a thing. It's just there in the background, and maybe at some point down the road, I'll use it to ask a question because I'm stuck. But beyond that, I'm not really concerned with it because it's not something that I can get familiar with at a slower pace without being overwhelmed. In this game, when you first start out, the only people you can see talk or say anything are either right next to you, actually saying something in the say, or people who are doing OOCs, which is out of character auctions or shouts. That's it. You don't have a ability to contact or chat with every single person on the server at the same time. That this game doesn't have that, and because it doesn't have that, it makes it more difficult, yes, because you don't have the ability to get backup from people as easily, but it also makes it a little bit less confusing for people who are just coming to it. There's not as much to learn right off the bat, and this game, it already has plenty to learn right off the bat because it just throws you in the deep end. It just throws you in and says, have fun, figure it out, right? Like, no direction. There's no, starting quest that says, okay, this is what you need to go do. To go talk to this NPC, and he's going to explain every part of combat. Go talk to this guy, and he'll tell you how to make trade skills. And go talk to this guy. He'll lead you to the next camp and kind of lead you through the zone in a nice, easy way. Now, this thing just tosses you somewhere in the game, maybe in a city, maybe outside of a city. Different classes or different races start in different places. The Necro starts 2 zones inside of a city. So not only do you have to find your way out of that first zone, you have to find your way out of the second one before you even get to the outside zone where you can fight creatures. And of course, you're brand new to the game. You know nothing about this game. Should I pull it? I guess oh crap! This guy is so dead, so dead. Holy crap! I don't know if we can take all of these. This might be too much, guys. But we're gonna try it. We're gonna try to take all these if we can. I'm gonna use my harm touch. There we go. That thing is dead. Get that down as soon as possible. Let's see if we can attack this guy right over here. See if I can taunt him off of the wizard. I believe that's the wizard. Yeah, I think that's no, that's the necromancer. Yeah, it's the necromancer over here. Come on, get on me, buddy. My taunt is really in the toilet. I need to work on that a lot more. Let's see. We got another pit right here. That is... Oh, we got the Necro. Okay, so let's... Oh, I didn't want to loot. Let's get the Necro here. And he is almost dead. So, yeah, it looked pretty hectic, and it was, because it just beat the crap out of that one guy, but because we have so much DPS here, they were able to take it down pretty quickly. And I guess the healer just couldn't get a heal off on the tank in time, so... Yeah, that sucked. But that was a rough pull. He really should have said something before he pulled that. If you know that there's going to be like 4 or 5 creatures incoming, on a pool and there's no way to kind of break that, and then just let your group know. That way they can prepare for it, be ready for it, and just they see you coming around the corner, boom, they got that first kill on you because they know it's coming. But I think, guys, this is going to be a good place to go ahead and end the episode. If you do enjoy these videos, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe. Definitely helps grow the channel, and I greatly appreciate it. Also, make sure to leave those comments down below because I do want to hear back from you guys and see what you think about the game. I did just level right now, guys, so I am level 10 now, and I don't get my new level spells until level 15. So hopefully here in the future, we're going to get to see that. That's going to be pretty cool. Again, guys, thanks for watching.